work with all these cases. Many times, the regime keeps these people and also intimidates their families into not giving affidavits, through which you can then apply for habeas corpus. And that has been the situation. So, for Olivia, like you've heard, she has been detained. Even before the Kalangala incident, she was one of those people who was detained a number of times at police stations and all that. And why? Because she is a different kind of lady. Olivia Lutaaya is extremely courageous. She was always, if you know one, those ladies who normally put on uniforms and go with President Chagulanyi wherever he goes. So she was this vocal person, and she had received threats a number of times. People told her that if she did not back up, she would be in trouble. Indeed, after getting out after the Kalangala incident, they warned her again, and of course, she did not stop being active. She did not stop being, this vocal person, and so they picked her one day from her house. They called her and said, we want you to come and help us locate someone. So they said they are looking for one Sanya. Sanya is also one of the political prisoners, Muhyiddin Kakoza. And so they tell her she was in Namuongo. And so she comes, and then they said, follow us to the police station. We are looking for this guy. He's a thief. And then they used her to call the other part. Really, a rogue regime, you know how they operate. And so that's how they got her and used her to get her friend and other comrades, because they normally, of course, as you know, look at the call logs and see who one of the activists is talking to, and then they're able to get the entire network. So that is how Olivia Lutaaya ended up in these circumstances. And as George will tell you, these people spent over several months actually in incommunicado detention. Nobody knew where they were. We kept looking for them until we heard, because they were taken to the court martial in the absence of lawyers. So we had it on the news that our people had been, arraigned before the general court martial and remanded. And it has been like that. Every time you go there for a hearing, they simply, will come up for a reason to adjourn. So they are in detention without trial. And as George said, that they start recently, after spending over 2 years in detention, they were slapped with a new charge of treachery. You remember this? She's on a file with. There are 32 people in total, I believe, and these were picked up from different areas. Some from Mbales, others from Kampala, others from Wakiso, others from all sorts of places, and so the regime tried to charge them with one offense. Many of them did not even know each other. You couldn't ask, just like they did with the Kalangala group, when they said that they were found with some magazines and bullets on the 3rd of January, when they actually had been arrested on the 30th of December. So, it's a rogue regime. And for me, the greatest pain I have, both as a lawyer and as a political leader, is to see that the courts, which should really be helping with these kinds of situations, have also become a tool for the oppressor to use. That, for example, the Constitutional Court has issued 2 judgments against a continued trial of civilians in military courts. But there was an appeal, and Owinyi-Dolo, for lack of a better word, I won't really call him a Chief Justice, because I think he's a thief of justice. I think he's a disgrace when it comes to ensuring that there's administration of justice in our country. The Supreme Court has refused to fix that appeal for hearing, and they issued an interim order. In other words, the original decision of the Constitutional Court could not be implemented. Even then, there was even another Constitutional Court decision which was not even appealed against. When we went to the court martial one time, they said, oh, these 2 cases were consolidated. So you can imagine you have a Supreme Court which has refused to hear a matter of this magnitude, a matter that is extremely important, because, as you know, you cannot get justice in these military courts. And so that's what I think I can say for now. Of course, I want to appreciate every single individual who has helped us with the welfare of these people. You people can imagine how the kind of burden the party bears for the families of people who disappeared. You find that many times you have to deal with school fees. Many of them have lost jobs, so you need to assist them with that. And then the dead, like I told you, the people were killed in November 2020, and those who have who were killed even before then, people like Ruta Nabukenya and others. And then the detained, those who are in detention. Maybe I must conclude with, saying that I visited Olivia Lutaaya this last week, and I want to appreciate all of you who continue to visit these political prisoners, and also visited the other political prisoners in the different places. One of the things that is interesting is that the state has been, trying to convince them to implicate our president, to say that that he's the one who sent them to commit all manner of crimes, to implicate him, and they are promising them all sorts of things. That, yeah, all those of you who have read Kakwenza's book really know how the regime in Uganda operates. They torture, they detain people, and then start trying to compromise them, to say, now you can work for us, and then we are going to give you money, we are going to give you a good life. And of course, many times they lure these people into those traps, give them some little money, which should be doing more important work for the country, healthcare, education, etc. But usually it's not even sustainable. You've seen the story of Eric Mwesigwa, who they said, go and lie that NUP tortured you, promised him all sorts of things, and now he's been crying everywhere because it was a lie. After using him, they just abandoned him. So that's what we've been telling these detainees. But as you can imagine, they are desperate. So the reason why they've been telling us is to also show us their desperation, that they've been in trial in jail for close to 3 years without trial, and the state comes and says, you implicate so and so, you come and claim this, and then we'll give you amnesty and make your lives better. So like Sam said, I think the most important thing here is to fight hard and establish a government which will really respect the rights of citizens, because otherwise you don't expect justice in the legal systems we have in our country. I want to agree with Sam that we've tried different things. As you know, we did a protest at some point about these political prisoners, but one of the challenges we've had is that you go and protest about these people, and then they detain, they take away 20 activists, 30 activists, and then you start afresh. Each bail application, the lawyers here know that in Uganda, you rarely get a bail without having to part with some money. Some, of course, bail fees on one hand, but also what they call oiling the system. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, but I believe Uganda needs to rise up to the occasion and fight so that this indignity and oppression comes to an end. Thank you.